Usually, when somebody brings up my social media posts, I'll probably answer it the same way that I always have. Well, you probably shouldn't look at it. Because if you're offended today, you're going to be offended tomorrow or whatnot. And that's not, trying to be a douchebag. That's because I've been posting the same type of stuff for well over a decade now. This same type of stuff. Yeah, the scenery has probably changed, right? I used to post in my truck before I would go to the gym, right? 2015. I used to call them pre-workout morning rants in a dark truck. People have problems with those. I would post some time in the sauna if it wasn't nobody in there, of course. Just random things I would post. It would just be blogs, and I was always open about how I overcame certain things. I'm real big on talking about alcohol because I think it is a problem, and it's never about the like. It's always about the views, and it's about the people that'll reach out in the inbox or messenger or something like that. And just they continue to have questions as to how I kept it up. So I know that it's helpful. I don't be caring about, the likes and things like that. So I always tell people, man, you probably should unfollow it. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. I try to keep it clear away from like anything racial. A lot of the hot buttons out here, I stay away from. You're not going to catch me on social media going on some tangent about what's going on in the world when it comes to, I tell you, I'm a federal employee just to let you know what's going on as far as in my life. But I kind of keep my opinions about certain things close to the vest. But I'm real open about, what I do. I use these as an example if you want to use it, right? If you say, hey, man, I ain't got enough time to work out, man, here's a circuit. Here's what I do, right? If I possess the results that you're looking for, here's what I do. Here's what I eat. Here's what time I wake up. And if you know me personally, you know that you do. I was gonna do like a April Fool's joke. I'm not working out this morning, but I doubt if anybody really knows me, if they would even believe that. So it wouldn't even probably landed well. But yeah. But I think it's about, it's about your relationship with people. Wordplay is big, right? I only got a handful of people that I really like associate with, like frequently. Text messages, not too much call all the time, but like text messages. And it's because we got similar stuff that's going on. We got, similar things that we're interested in. And it flows for a good conversation. I can't sit and talk to you all the time about sports and debates and, stuff that would not benefit me. There's a lot going on right now for a lot of us. And mentally, I got to try to preserve myself. I stay real reserved, especially even at home. When stuff is going on, my girl knows. But I'll try to get in, get the workout in, figure something out to get it, done. But I can't have a relationship with somebody that, as a friend, and that's all we do is trauma bond. That's all we do is talk about what's going on. And there's no movement at the end of that conversation because that's pretty draining and it's exhausting and it will get me nowhere. But I started learning the more that you try to do for yourself, and there's two types. The more that people will, push their emotions and their fears and their insecurities onto you. Some people just do it because that's just how they are. You got to be able to spot that. And then some do it because they think that they're looking out for you. So if you share a new endeavor or a new goal with somebody, and the first thing they do is they say, well, this might not work out because you might not be able to do this. And they're sharing with you what they went through. And they think that that's going to prepare you for it. Maybe, remove you from being disappointed from it like they were. The other ones is just weird. If they've never tried it and they're laying all that on you, them ain't your peoples. they ain't. But it's also wordplay, man, because I'm a big, believer in, I don't care what you say, I have to see you doing it. Like, whether people like it or not, if they see you doing something, that's worth it. I'm not talking about the diabolical stuff that's out. That's worth it. If you say you working out and you getting up and you doing that, and you can tell, even though in today's climate, I guess it's different, but you can tell if they're doing it. If they're speaking on whatever the subject is and they've kind of mastered that subject, It's action. People see you doing it. Words don't mean nothing to me. Words take off. A slogan hit and it goes, right? It becomes trendy. But words, I'm real big on words. But the thing about words is my words and what I used in order to, keep me going might be offensive to somebody else. Prime example, it happens all the time. If I go somewhere and maybe they got like an unhealthy food spread, somebody says, hey man, there's some donuts over there, some pizza over there. And I'm a pizza guy, I'm a donut guy. That's why I bring those up. And I'd be like, nah, I'm good, man. Thanks though. Why not? Because people will pressure that. Why not, man? You can relax and reward yourself. I mean, it's just one meal, it's just one day. Nah, I'm good, man. Thanks though. Come on, man. Well, nah, I just respect myself too much in order to do that. That's all. The first thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna be like, well, you saying I don't respect myself? No, but that's the wordplay in it. Just like with me having my why, I'm very open that I had to stop drinking because my son was born. That don't mean that my why is your why. That don't mean you don't love your kids if you can't stop drinking because you got kids already. That's just what I use. But, you gotta find a way to figure out how deep that freaking addiction is, because that alcohol will take your soul and you won't even know it. And two, you got to keep reminding yourself as to why you need to stop. Mine was my son. Like I said, so when you talk to people about that, and then if they were, for example, if somebody said, I need to stop doing something that's harmful to them, and they already got kids, and I say, man, I stopped because my son, that's my why, there's going to be conflict there. Now, I can still provide insight and suggestions, but I'm not going to feel bad because our whys are different. It's just crazy times that we're living in, man. But that's part of the game. You're gonna get labeled, right? Back in the day, getting up, working out, doing certain things that you probably knew you needed to do in order to better yourself, and it might been, a little bit intense at times. It was goal driven. There was a reason behind it. But now it's hustle culture and grind mode culture, and that could be offensive to people. So what? We different. Unless we're like sharing a mortgage or something, you got to make sure you keep it in your lane. You got to understand things like that. Comparison, that's a big thing, because the access that we have through social media at any given time, people do it as soon as they wake up. They look at, one of these social media apps, and if life isn't going as planned or something unfortunate happened, then you look at somebody else's social media and then you just assuming and you going by what you're seeing, because a lot of that stuff is fake. Emotions are going to come with that. It's going to bring resentment, bitterness, man. That stuff can fester. Then you start projecting. And I'm saying it all kind of, it's like a blueprint. And if you're real strategic about how you attack your day and know what to avoid, you'll be better off for it. We all got a tough life right now. But I know that there's certain things that I'm going to do every day that's a non-negotiable. And I lay it out there and I let it be known. You can't talk me off that square. But to this day, after posting for well over a decade and working out since the year 2000, people will still try. They will still try to give you reasons why you shouldn't do this and share some old article from 1975 about how this person was working out at this age and they got, just to make them feel better about the decisions that they made. And it is kind of odd, because I think we all know we want to do better. And if you got an example, because that's the main reason I share. I'm not sharing because anything that I do is one size fits all. I wouldn't advise it to anybody. I wouldn't advise getting on the stairs Saturdays and Sundays for 3 hours and 45 minutes. I wouldn't advise it. I would say, hey, try the stairs. If you go to the gym, try the Stairmaster or something like that. But the things that I do were created to help me get through my life. I just shared an example that, hey, you do certain things, they might work for you, but you have to kind of craft your own method for your life. But I tell you, man, as soon as you give somebody a solution now, they might come with a counterpunch. And then there's emotions, and there's showing off, and there's all this other stuff, man. You got people that see you doing something, that has saw you doing something for years and won't even, will shade you and won't even hit like and will love somebody else they don't know doing the same damn thing because it's you. It's because a lot of times that stuff holds up a mirror, man. You know, they got the little icon on your phone. You can switch the camera over at you. And if you are somebody that came from a similar situation, maybe worse, as somebody else, and you found a way to make it happen no matter what's going on in the world, that calls that person's own habits and lifestyle choices into question. And a lot of people don't like that because it is the worst word of all, the truth. So that's something you have to really be, careful with. Because if you're around people enough, a certain type of person, man, they're going to start programming you. You're going to start being conditioned to certain things. And then when you decide you want to step out that box, do something better, do something a little different. If you're around that person, you know how they are, you ain't going to even want to share that no more, man. You ain't, man. I remember when I really start just locking in on certain things, it was friendships I had to be removed from. Because at first it's supported, but then it's like, man, here you go, man. I bet you ain't about to eat this, right? You think you better because you don't drink no more? Yes. I'm better for me because I knew what it did to me. That don't mean you gotta stop. That just means that I realized that I don't need this stuff in my life no more. And that's how people start feeling, man. Like you trying to better you is somehow a shot at them. But I always leave that door open because when you do that, and if they decide to come through and make that change, I'm right there. High five. Let's go. But understand that's what it is, man. Everybody's not going to support your goals. They're yours. Your goals aren't for the streets. And also understand if it's somebody that you're close with, it's going to be some situations too. Those are going to be your biggest, they're going to deter you the most. And then you're going to be confused. Like, hold on, man. You saw me going through this struggle. You saw me. I was carrying all this weight. You had to drive me to the hospital. The doctor told me I need to change. And now you got a problem with me now that I'm able to change? And it can be confusing because that might be your ace, your partner, right? You know what I'm saying? That person that's been in your life all this time. But it's not you. It's because they probably still have those same habits. And you was able to find a way to hit that switch because it kind of is. A lot of people say it doesn't happen overnight, but it kind of do. You just you're tapping that switch and it finally just stays on. So people see that and it bothers them. Instead of saying, hey, what is it that you did? Or they saw what you did. Put me in the game, coach. Help me out. That way both of y'all can make a win. It just creates that separation. That's why I only have a handful of people that I talk to. It's not because I think that I'm better than anybody or anything like that. It's just life is tough. And there's certain things that I know I cannot do because it's not going to help me at all. I stay away from it. And if people are still doing those things, we're not going to vibe well. Because I'm going to stay strong in me not doing that thing that I knew that was holding me up, and you probably going to still do it. It's just going to create conflict. So for me, I'm out of bounds with it. But usually when that happens, you're always going to be the one that's the bad guy in today's climate.